Good morning, my friends, my wonderful friends. Getting ready for my coffee. I have chosen a Nicaragua red honey, and once again, the red honey is the process, just like with my Costa Rica black honey. It's the sort of top process. So I think there's yellow, red, and black or something. Don't know what that process is exactly. I've got to read up on it, but it's intriguing, and it's a very nice tasting coffee. The Costa Rican black honey, superb. The other one's pleasant. Rinse. Just washing my face. Wake myself up. Wow, that felt good, but not as good as the coffee is gonna feel. Let me just put my glasses back on. Some kind of fuzzy coffee. So how are you guys doing this morning? Is this video getting on too late for coffee maybe? But you can always watch it the next day in the morning or something and have your coffee with me. Yesterday I more or less got the dog door in, well, human door for the dogs, which I'm loving already, the luxury of it. It wasn't super cold last night, so I left the door open for them to come and go, and that was a complete luxury and novelty, because part of our plans over here was to merge us with the dogs in some way, so that we can have the dogs around more, but still, keep them safe and not off leash and stuff, so they don't run off into a road or something. So the first step of the plans was to have our fenced-in area much closer to where we're living, which we've done. And now the next step was to put in a door so I don't have to go out and around, and in the wintertime, snowed in and trudging through snow if it hasn't been plowed. And now I just open a door, and I'm probably gonna put a dog door beside it. I'm thinking. I don't know yet. I think I should, because if I want to create a little area at the back with straw for them to sleep like they used to have in the barn, I'm not going to leave the big door open in the middle of winter for snow to come in. So I'm going to have to make a dog door, and what I did with the barn was I put a carpet over it. Whenever they rip the carpet to shreds, I put another old carpet on, chunk of carpet in front. I'll see if there's better ideas. Maybe I don't know if it was rubber or something, maybe they'd be less likely to tear it apart or something, I don't know. But those are my thoughts. So I got quite a bit accomplished yesterday, plus I did quite a bit of the pumpkin. Worked till almost midnight, went to bed for 1. Music in the background is Grammatica, DJ, just a mix. And then beyond that are birds and sounds, actually not really sounds of leaves at the moment. So the coffee is rattling away, and I can smell it. I wish you could smell what I smell right now. The fresh mountain air in the highlands with this wonderful, I don't have a word for it. It's kind of, sort of a, kind of a cooked, almost bran type of, the initial smell before it starts to take on the coffee smell. It's almost like a hot cereal kind of smell. Just really nice. A little bit like popcorn, a little bit like something else. Oh my gosh. If your house could smell like this stage, well, I'm gonna get too much of a smell. Yeah, if you're have an air freshener that smells like that. Pretty good. So, I will put out a video. I had mentioned going into a little more about my philosophy and what I'm doing, what Raven and I are doing, what I'm doing. My bigger plan, small sections like the pumpkin, how it fits into the bigger plan, other sections of the plan. The plan is unfolding. I have a generalized map, you might say, but the plan goes way beyond that. So that part is the unfolding, and I basically, I even do a episode on what I'm doing to stay open to where to go next. Because what I'm doing here is I'm on many levels, but I'm teaching myself things on a general, just figuring things out, learning from friends, neighbors. I am waking myself up, and what I mean by that is I believe that I have everything within me. I believe that there are healing abilities and there is healing knowledge within me, not in a linear way like we live in this reality, but on some level. And I believe that my quote-unquote healing and waking up is to myself, is to my potential in that case, because that's what, I mean, if you became more aware of yourself, for example, for instance, I am who I am, I have my five senses, I have my mind, you know, each person has their different aspect, essence of personality, and so on and so forth. So, everyone, I think you would all agree with me, everyone has some degree of disinformation, misinformation about themselves, all based, what to say, based on misconceptions. And right now I'm talking about misconceptions just based on our five senses, what they bring in. If you were to suddenly have the perceptions added to your abilities of, say, a really amazing, I don't know, a bloodhound or something, or, you know, different animals that have certain senses, a hawk, an eagle, whatever, your understanding of yourself would change, if that was ever possible, to be a human with a perception of an eagle, say, just for a while. You've added and you've taken away, but in this case, imagine that you still remember and still maintain and retain your human instincts and stuff, and you're just adding this other, in this case, an eagle. Your perceptions are going to change about yourself, your understanding about yourself, because you've added more information. You've therefore stepped, in a sense, above an airplane. Just wait for a moment. Ran my coffee. Oh well. Anyways, you kind of like an umbrella. If you step up, you'll have more of a perception of what you're looking at and your understanding, therefore. So, in other words, your perceptions limit and create a large amount of who and what you think you are. So I perceive and believe and understand and feel that I am way more than I can perceive. And as I learn more about myself, I gain more wisdom. So it's more, for me, I see it more as a dropping old stuff rather than reaching outside myself to learn new stuff. You know, I'm not going to go to a university and gain some magical knowledge. It's just not going to happen. Taught by humans. And not necessarily the best humans. So, everything that I'm doing is to further this progress within myself and to share with others what my process is as I unfold, assuming that I'm unfolding. Who knows, maybe I crumple up into a little crumple paper bag, who knows. No, but I'm choosing, all joking aside, I'm choosing to unfold. I'm choosing to reveal more of myself to myself, and I do believe that Raven, as she has mentioned, as she intended, and as we have all felt, many of us, Raven has taken the initiative, followed her inner voice and calling, which needed her on the other side. And I'm saying on the other side because I don't know enough about, beyond even saying the other side is misleading. But we're going to use those metaphors from here to talk about there. And the portal, Nomad Portal, is our direct access to there, and maybe more than there. Who knows? We really don't know. We just know that with the help of Raven, we've opened a portal, and the help of some other friends. And it's a massive, complex thing. I can't even explain because there's a lot of it is private and not mine to explain either. But just trust me that there's a big thing shifting and happening. So I'm working with that portal and with myself, all this that I'm talking about, because I'm being guided by Raven to grow, to expand, to enlarge myself in the different sense compared to volume and physics and stuff. Come on there, coffee. But everything I've been doing, last year's lantern, I'm not going to call it a jack-o'-lantern because jack-o'-lantern was related to Jack, this mythical creature that was a lost soul. And the lantern was just according to the more recent stories, which have been changed and altered by judgmental belief systems and stuff. It became this basically a wandering, hungry ghost that people have to ward away with their jack-o'-lanterns. Well, this is the opposite. It would have and does have a protection built in the same way, but on a less crude level. Higher level technology, let's say. If I can be so bold. I will be so bold. So I have my lantern that protects and draws in filters, just like my coffee filter. So it's a interdimensional AeroPress. Let's call it that. And it filters out, protects from debris, and it concentrates and directs an energy of sorts. AeroPress, it's coffee. In this case, it's a whole lot more. So yeah, I am throwing myself 120% into this. I will say and caution many people that I'm just going to get my cream. Hold on. So, yeah, I'm sure there are many people who are hearing me and thinking, oh, I love Damon, but I think he's just under so much pressure that he's making up, inventing, imagining, believing, whatever, these crazy stories. And I don't mind if you think that. I'm not offended by any means. I just love the fact that you're not judging me, and I mean, that's a big thing in itself, right? To be able to listen to someone and not grok what they're saying and not, categorize them is a great strength to have and display. So I'm grateful to have friends like that. And then there are those friends who are grokking what I'm saying. And I'm even surprising myself as things, oh, this is really good. Wow. Oh, gosh. Nicaragua red honey, I'm liking it. But anyways, the world is in a state where no one has an answer, and I ain't playing the old games. I got pulled into it for a while until I and all of us came to realize that it's something really different than any of us thought. We've been played. We're upside down, inside out, confused, stressed, sick, lowered immune systems, you name it, it's happening. So many people have died, and not of COVID. So many people have died of supposedly COVID, if we even know what it is. And I don't mean any disrespect to anyone. My sister had it. She's just getting over it now in Mexico or in Costa Rica. A very good friend of mine got it and is probably recovered or is recovering wonderfully with the help of Raven. And also, if you ever want to and you don't feel too stupid doing it, doesn't matter, whatever, do it in privacy of your own home. If you ever want to ask Raven or try communicating with her, you'll be quite surprised, I think. I was in a real funk the last bunch of days. I'm just coming out of it yesterday. I welcome those places because they exist, and I have to go through them to become whole. I have to clear through this stuff, and there's no rushing it. There's no speeding up. There's no half-assed way of doing it as far as I'm learning. It involves my heart as an organ of perception. It involves all my survival senses that I have. It involves gaining knowledge and wisdom in just simple things. When I moved up here 5 years ago, everything was a learning curve. It was so overwhelming, it was insane. I couldn't believe it. And now I'm at this next level. I'm just glad I didn't know what was happening ahead of time. But I am here, I'm embracing it, I am full on. Yes, parts of me are massively traumatized, massively, I will be honest. Right now that those parts are not up, so I'm able to talk openly and freely and without getting all emotional and choked up. But the way I understand it, there are many aspects, parts of ourselves that have voices, very different and separate from other parts of ourselves. It doesn't mean we're multiple personality or split personality or any of these things. It's just acknowledging and not denying these parts in ourselves. Like John Bradshaw, the inner child, way like 20, more than 20 years ago. In the at least the early 90s. But how can I put, the way I perceive it, we are all being called to, on some level, let go of a lot of stuff that we are, and I'll use the word addicted to, because I noticed, and I'm choosing to be grateful for losing a large sum of money. Whether I find it or not is not the case, or the condition to be grateful. I realized through this experience that I have a very bad relationship with money. I'm afraid of it. I'm overwhelmed by it. I don't know where to place it. It just is this thing. And right now with the world, everything's shaky. So it links to survival for sure. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. You've heard it all before. But it was opened up for me in a time where I was feeling quite vulnerable but didn't know it. And it just kind of scratched at something and opened something up. And it was a painful 3 days. I had to even hold back little bits of panic. It's like a lens comes over me, or an eclipse almost, of this part. And then I feel everything in the way that part of myself feels things. And it can be very overwhelming because it's fully got you in a grip. And then there I am saying to myself, okay, I have to embrace this. I have to lean into it, which is the hardest thing if it's something really difficult. But I did. I worked it. I expressed myself with a few people. I did my videos. So far, I feel that a certain degree of transparency, obviously I don't mean bearing your soul to everyone is the way to heal, but even if you have just a best friend that you use and they use you, likewise, whatever it is, I'm finding that a certain amount of opening myself and not hiding. I was very hidden before, in many ways. I was very honest and open and loving in many ways, but I did hide fears and insecurities, and so it allowed them to stay. Now I'm just eradicating them, but I'm not lighting a big field fire or anything. I'm doing it in I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting an unfolding that is a wisdom that's within me, and it is within me, as it's within nature. And just so many of us have been divorced from any connection whatsoever. I still feel that that's why indigenous people around the world have been, well, one of the reasons why they've been so attacked and genocided over time is because they had, and hopefully still have, and hopefully we still have somewhere in the background, this essence, this spirit that we can draw from and reawaken ourselves to whatever our potential is. Now, whether that's happened before in that sense, that's called entanglement in a different way than physics. That's my entanglement theory. And you just don't want to get tangled up in stuff. We're talking about different dimensions, and you can't talk about or apply rules in physics of these dimensions we're in with other ones. So things tend to become paradoxical and a mess. Now, I feel, unconscious or otherwise, I feel like the confusion we're in right now, on one hand, can keep us away from finding ourselves, in simple terms. But I also believe in a larger picture, and I choose to believe whatever is beyond us, or is us, beyond our understanding, then, has got all this in order somehow, and maybe everything we're going through is part of a sacred process. And I mentioned the other day in a video, and I brought up the caterpillar chrysalis butterfly story, and the science now believes, whatever. The caterpillar goes through very real death throes when the imaginal cells of the butterfly within it start to eat it. Could we be going through that phase on some level? It doesn't have to be a physical one at all, to be real. But could we be, what if everything we've just gone through was part of the process? And we did it somehow. Everything. All the conflict, all the hating friends because they did this and didn't do that and whatever. And now the process of many of us finding ways to re-embrace people with completely different views, so polarized. Maybe that's part of our process, is to be able to love your neighbor who has an opposite belief. I don't know. I really don't know. Sometimes I feel kind of daunted with that one, because so many people are very judgmental, and it's, are they able to let go of judgment? I don't know. But regardless, I do believe that we're all in a process right now, and I believe that we're right at the point where the caterpillar is feeling, in some way sensing, that it's being eaten, when it probably felt kind of secure in this little cocoon at first. And yeah, I think that's kind of the stage we're at right now. It's a bit of a freak out, bit of a panic, all kinds of things. Wow, that is a good coffee. I woke up, I don't know, 3 something this morning and went out for a pee. And it was like, oh nice, it's not super cold. Enjoy this while it lasts. Way back, my client and friend, Anita, who many of you already know, who I'm referring to, she knew she only had a short time left on this earth, fighting cancer. Wonderful soul. Lots of spirit. She was a healer. And she knew she was going, and she wanted a tattoo. Never had one before. Think about that. Anita, just by herself, did many things, but for me, woke me up to some big stuff in the healing potential of the soul print. Because she lived it. She did it. She threw herself into her experiences 120%, regardless of how she was seen or judged. And I feel that that's what we need to be doing now, is trusting ourselves on that level. That if you get even your best friend kind of chuckling or complaining behind you, about something you're doing, if it's in your heart and in your soul, you need to be doing it. Now, how do you find that strength? Well, I don't have the 100% answer because I'm figuring it out myself. But I'm hoping that just by me being open about my process, I don't know where it's going. I honestly don't know. But I believe that by me shining my light, so to speak, and me displaying my sort of house cleaning, the debris being dumped as it gets dumped, that people observing might start to wake something up within them of their process. My process doesn't have to be some perfect process for it to wake someone up. It just has to be, as far as I believe, authentic, honest. I gotta be real, which is why I'm doing this real part of it, because I believe that's what's going to communicate on some level to people their own opening, awakening, healing, whatever this process is. And I don't know, I was born wanting to share, wanting to help, and I still want to. And that's what keeps me going, really, is the lack of self-centeredness that, I don't know, I guess I was really lucky on that one. I kind of went the other extreme. If anything, to the extreme would be self-defacing, more so than, it's still an ego thing. It's kind of a reverse ego thing. I, as a kid, much easier attacked myself. I remember one time my mom was going off to work at night, and my father being very abusive. My brothers and sisters, we were left at night with him while my mother worked, because she had to work to get money. Anyways, it's not all about that. It's just a quick point. Now I can't even remember why I brought that up. Shit, why did I? Shouldn't go off on a tangent. My short-term memory has been shot from all the stress of all this supposedly death of your loved one, especially on a level that I love, Raven, is the most traumatic thing that you can experience. And I'm experiencing it in the midst of lockdown COVID stuff, in the midst of having no standard housing the way I always imagined it to be. So I'm out of my safe zone on every level. And I'm embracing it. I'm not complaining. Because, why? Well, one reason is I have nothing to complain about. I believe this is a sacred process for me. I guess that's what keeps me safe. And I'm not going to let go of that. I have no reason to. So yeah, jumping back to my things I've been sharing through my art, well, my soul prints for my whole career, but and my paintings, but more specifically, recently, I started with the lantern last year, while McTavish was getting ready to leave his physicality. It was a very difficult time. Although, once McTavish passed, I had been quite dependent on and off with a sleeping aid, Imavane. Since my days of anxiety and depression and stuff, I couldn't do the antidepressant thing, so I would have Imavane as a when needed kind of thing to help with either reducing anxiety, which it did, and or helping with sleep. It was more like it reduced anxiety before sleep, so I could sleep or sleep a bit better. But anyways, as of McTavish passing, I made a little promise to myself that I would never ever take Imavane again. Get off this friggin' pharmaceutical that really ate at me, even the fact that I was dependent upon it so long. And I haven't gone back, even through this process and Raven passing. Every good reason to have said, oh, I got to right now. I need some medication to get through this. I need an antidepressant. And I'm not knocking anyone that does take them. This is purely my path right now with myself. Some people, antidepressants and things are exactly what they need, but not for me. So, oh God, I think I just went over the thing. Now it'll be 2 parts. Oh well. So yeah, as of McTavish passing last year, I stopped, as my little spiritual thing, stopped taking Imavane, and I haven't ever gone back, even with all these challenges. Excuse me. And I feel I need little things like that to do to show myself that I mean business. It builds my trust in myself and my abilities, one little bite-sized piece at a time. Self-respect, everything on that level. So anyways, that's when I carved that lantern, and it was for some people that were having health issues. And open-ended to everyone. And I felt that it, like I mentioned, it drew in energies. It's at a time of year where many beliefs acknowledge that the veils between the worlds, this and others, are the thinnest. So people all who want to do something with that, that's the time to do it. And that's why I'm doing this, is I am working with this other realm, from this realm, at a time, purposely, when the veil is the thinnest for communication. And in this case, it's once again for all of our healing, whatever healing means on that level. It's not the type of healing that you might jump, the pharmaceutical healing, which in my belief is a co-opting of a deeper meaning of healing, and therefore that distracts us from what even healing means anymore. So it's very, I think, very harmful, our whole paradigm that we've been caught into. If you want some really good reading material, I'm going to mention a bunch of names. I won't even go into from which angle. They're all from slightly different angles. But Stephen Herod Buhner, I've studied with and read a lot of his books. Master Herbalist. He has some great stuff that he gets into on the heart as an organ of perception, but from the perspective of an herbalist and communicating with plants for medicinal purposes. Stephen Jenkinson, more on the death and dying aspect of what we're stuck in as a culture. I am really loving Oracle Girl, Jacqueline Hobbs. She's been really speaking to me lately. And keep in mind as well, all these people that I'm mentioning and others are just because I'm inspired by them and I mention them, it doesn't mean that I buy into everything they say. I don't buy into everything anyone says, not even including myself. So just in case anyone's thinking I'm going off on a tangent or anything at any point, I was speaking to someone the other day about it. I take something, I listen, I read or whatever, and then I might put it on a shelf, and it might be an upper shelf I don't need to access very often. It's just need to basis. Well, there's something in that, it's tickling at me, whispering something, but I can't hear it yet. I'll put it up there. And that's how I do my work. So when some people in the past have kind of jumped to a conclusion and just went, whoa, it's being taken out of context. And I understand that, because how can everyone possibly know my process fully? But anyways, let's just jump back to overall, I feel that we're going to have quite a challenging season running in from 21 to 22 up until the spring at least. I think on many levels there's going to be a lot of challenges. I hope not, but I do believe there are going to be some massive food shortages. Gas is going to keep going up to the point where you can't even afford to drive probably. So you have to really choose carefully. Propane, all the fuel sources. I don't want to get into why I believe too much, but I am a very suspicious person at this point. I believe all these prices, wood prices, everything prices that have gone up. I believe there's a certain amount of selfish looting mentality for sure. People jumping on the bandwagon, but I do believe it's been orchestrated. It's just my belief. I can live with you who have a different belief if you can live with me that has this belief. My beliefs can also change. They're very flexible. I'll just point that out. I'm always open and receptive. Okay, so I had my lovely coffee. That was so good. I would love to have another one right now, but I know not good on an empty stomach. Okay. I'm going to do a bit of pumpkin carving, eat breakfast, and walk the dogs in that order. Then I've got to go to John, my neighbor, and pick up the hitch because I need to level this trailer today or tomorrow before my client gets here, because it's just so unlevel that I can't level it with the leveling devices on the trailer. It's just too much, and then I'm afraid that even then that the sort of built-in jacks are going to bend or something, deform, because they're just holding too much weight. So I've got to move it forward a little bit, dig a little hole under some of the wheels so that one set of the wheels tilt a bit more this way, because I feel like the wheels are too much that way, and therefore my leveling is just screwed. So I'm going to dig a little bit of a lowering so that ideally I drive back and it'll do a bit more of this, and then I have minimal leveling left. So that's a today or tomorrow thing.